In the middle of nowhere, there stands a shack where illegal dog breeding takes place in secrecy. A dog lies panting in a pool of its own blood after being experimented on. The scene then shifts to a rattling safe in the corner of the room. It teeters here and there, and then the door bursts open, revealing a frightened Labrador puppy. The puppy dashes for its freedom and jumps out through the only window in the room. She experiences nature for the first time, and everything makes her curious. Every day she learns something new. Surviving in the world all alone is very difficult for the poor puppy who had always been caged. For the first time ever, she has to do everything for herself, and as a stray dog, it is a struggle as everyone just pushes her away. Slowly, she learned that the best way to get food was to target open fish markets. Early in the morning, she goes to the fish markets, and as soon as any vendor is distracted, she snatches a fish in her mouth and runs away with it with a proud smile on her face. But that's not her only attraction in the fish market. The main reason she walks around the fish market every day is so she can find a pile of discarded ice and roll around in it. Isn't she the cutest? But her daily routine is disturbed when somehow she finds herself in a furniture mover's van that transports her miles away to another city. The puppy learns something new in that van, though. If you're a dog owner, you might have guessed it right. Yes, it's her love for ripping into furniture. What a surprise the movers get when they open the door to the van, and in a burst of feathers, a dog runs out, escaping the scene of mischief into the Chinmaya colony. Enter the life of Dharma, who lives in this colony. He is an antisocial man with no need for relations and is grumpy as heck. His home is dirty and badly in need of repairs. The only decoration in his scattered home is a mural of Charlie Chaplin, Dharma's favorite character. It's made up of gears and other bike parts, which means Dharma had worked long and hard on it. Beyond that, there's just a scatter of rubbish and dust all around the house. He has a fixed routine of work, home, food, beer, sleep, and repeat. Because of his grumpy nature, his neighbors do not like him, and if any of them try to be friends with him, he would scare them off. It's no surprise that the kids in the colony are scared of him, with an attitude rivaling the Grinch's. Dharma's work life is no better. He works in a factory as a senior welder. All his coworkers hardly tolerate him, and likewise Dharma hates everyone and everything. One night, there is a religious festival in the colony's little park, and it's a source of enjoyment for everyone. That is, for everyone but Dharma and the puppy. Dharma is wide awake, waiting for the noise to stop at midnight. The little puppy, scared out of her wits by these unfamiliar sounds, also wants it all to stop. At midnight, the festival still hasn't stopped. Dharma's patience snaps, and he makes his way to the festival, where in a hilarious and dramatic fashion, he beats up the performers and breaks up the festival in mere minutes. To everyone, Dharma looks like the villain, but to the young pup, Dharma emerges from the destruction like her savior. And that's all it takes for her to fall for him. She stealthily follows him back home while he munches on a drumstick. Entering his home, Dharma throws away the half-eaten drumstick into the bin, which the puppy accepts as a gift and chews happily on it. Already a bond is formed in her mind. Dharma has no idea that someone new is going to be a part of his life. He is still reeling from the loss of all his family. In his nightmares, he is 10 years old again. It's the last day he saw his family alive, and they are leaving for a festival. Dharma doesn't go with them. He stays home. His parents leave with his sister, who teases him that she'll eat all the ice cream and bring none for him. On the way back, they have a fatal accident when a stray dog runs into the middle of the road out of nowhere. Every morning he wakes up gasping for breath, reliving the loss. No wonder this man hates his life. When he wakes up, the weather is stormy with heavy rain and thunder. Through the rain, he hears the whimpering and barking of the puppy. Now that we know his history, we can understand his irritation with dogs. He opens his front door and sends the soaking wet puppy off his porch. But does this deter her from trying to win his affection? Nope. Every morning, the puppy eats Dharma's leftovers and then follows him wherever he goes. At night, she comes back home and stays on his porch playing with the junk around his house. She tries her best to be stealthy about it, but he almost immediately notices her. Dharma is out of patience and wonders what exactly he can do to lose his stalker when a teenage hooligan on a bike collides with the puppy. The puppy cries out in pain and starts whimpering. Dharma tries to ignore it, but he is visibly distressed. He turns on the TV. It tunes into an episode of Charlie Chaplin protecting his dog from a stray. This scene has an effect on Dharma, and he rushes out to help the puppy. Meanwhile, the puppy is bleeding and is in immense pain. Everyone around her is tending to the hooligan who was the cause of this accident. Only the little girl, Adrika, who gets scared of Dharma all the time, is worried about the dog. All the colony residents blame the poor puppy for the accident, and everyone agrees that it's a good thing that she is dying. That's when Dharma fires up his bike, with an open suitcase attached to it as a carrier. He places the puppy in the suitcase. Thinking Dharma is going to harm the puppy, the little girl begs her mother to save her. Dharma ignores all of them and takes the dog to the vet. The vet is a funny little fellow who genuinely loves all animals. He treats the puppy, but when he's giving her an injection, the puppy howls in fear and tries to get away. This is the first time we viewers get a glimpse of just how traumatized this joyful puppy is. Dharma, having done his duty, tries to leave after paying the vet, but he stops him and tells him to take the puppy with him. Shocked, Dharma asks him to just keep her here as she didn't belong to him. That's one argument that he can't win, and he has to leave with the puppy. Now what to do with this puppy? The colony had a strict no pet dogs policy, and while Dharma wasn't big on rules, he did hate being bothered. He settled on just wrapping the puppy up in a cloth and taking him inside his home before anyone can notice. He probably would have managed it if it wasn't for the little girl still waiting for Dharma to come back with the news of the puppy. With a smile on her face, she mouths, "Puppy." Confused, Dharma wonders how she figured it out when he notices the puppy's wagging tail peeking out of the cloth. The following nights put Dharma's patience to the test. The puppy barks all night, jumps on him while he sleeps, dumps rats in his lap, and runs away with his underpants while he uses the loo. Missing his peace and quiet, one day Dharma gives in to his intrusive thoughts and leaves the dog in a park. He reaches home relaxed when the doorbell rings. He opens the door to find Adrika standing on the porch. She tells him she saw the dog in the park. He hopes it's still there, but when has luck been on Dharma's side? The girl turns around to show a smiling puppy in her backpack. Well, there goes one plan to get rid of her. Dharma at wit's end calls and scolds the vet who had promised him that he'd find someone to adopt the dog in 4 days, but it had been more than 4 weeks since they had that talk. The vet pulls through, and soon there is a family interested in the puppy. For the first time since he brought the dog home, he feels happy because he can finally go back to his daily routine. He even takes a rare short leave from work, shocking all his coworkers. He arrives home almost giddy, opens the door, and his expression turns to horror. Left home alone, the puppy had shredded his sofa. There were puffs of feathers and cotton all over the house. That's the last straw. Dharma picks up a spatula and proceeds to chase the puppy around the house, intent on teaching it a lesson. While they're both occupied, the vet and the potential adoptees witness the whole scene. The adoptees couldn't run out of the house fast enough after seeing what the puppy was capable of. After this incident, Dharma wants the dog gone sooner rather than later. The vet advises him to go register the dog and get a license to make the process easier. Grumbling the entire time, he sets out to do that. There he meets the beautiful Davika. She's a passionate member of the Animal Welfare Board, who instantly becomes suspicious of him when he doesn't have a name for the dog. He tells her the dog's name is Chi. He also tells her that he feeds her steamed rice all the time, which shocks her. He acquires the license, but because of his gruff attitude, Davika and her team come knocking on his door the very next day. Why? Because she suspects him of animal abuse and mistreatment. Looking at the state of his home, her suspicions are all but cemented. One of her team members tries to give the dog a checkup and the dog chases him around the room. While everyone but Dharma is laughing at them, the dog trips on a chain, and it unravels the mural of Charlie Chaplin. Major oops. Hastily, the team leaves Dharma's house, and he calls the vet again in anger, this time with a sense of finality. Later that day, the dog is barking at the neighbors and Dharma calls to her to shut up. The dog, obviously, does not listen. He walks across the lawn to drag the dog back home. Halfway there, he collapses because of a panic attack. The dog barks up a storm, and the neighbors notice him lying there and call the ambulance. We watch the dog chase the ambulance all the way to the hospital. She even enters the hospital despite everyone trying to stop her. It's then that Dharma realizes that he isn't all alone in the world and that he has someone who cares about him. But this realization comes too late, because soon the vet brings the much-awaited adoptees who wish to adopt the dog. Before he can say anything, the vet and the family whisk the dog away and leave. You know how they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's exactly how it is for Dharma. The dog's mischievous presence leaves a mark on his life, and without her, life became dull. He spends many days missing her and wondering why he didn't cherish her when she was with him. Weeks later, the vet calls him to ask why he is delaying the transfer of license. Dharma finally gets ready to transfer the license, but the scene he finds in the adoptee's house is nothing short of hilarious. In the heart of a tidy living room, a once elegant couch is now a victim to the dog's mischief. The family stares in disbelief, their prized furniture in ruins, while Dharma tries and fails to control his amusement and bursts out laughing. Happy to get rid of such a lively pup, the family returns her to Dharma. As they hand her back, he feels an unfamiliar twinkle of joy. They were meant to be together. Happy to be back home, she runs around while Dharma tries to think of a fitting name for her. His eyes were drawn to the half-broken mural of Charlie Chaplin. Charlie, he whispers, sealing their bond. Could there be a more perfect name for her? Dharma's life took a major turn. With Charlie by his side, he feels warmth and energy he hadn't known before. He begins connecting with people, forges a sweet friendship with young Edrica, mentors his intern with patience, and opens up to the world in ways he hadn't before. The influence of Charlie's love is evident. He is a new man. But this happiness was just the calm before the storm. One day, on his way to work, Dharma notices Charlie just lying in front of the door, acting lazy. No matter what he says, she doesn't move. Thinking she wants attention, Dharma, who is already late for work, just moves her away from the door, throws her a ball to play with, and promises to be back home soon. When he comes back home, he is met with the horrific scene of Charlie lying in a pool of her own vomit. He rushes her to the trusty vet, ready to spare no expense on her treatment. But the diagnosis crushes all hope. Dharma's source of happiness, his joy. Charlie has cancer, which is genetically the result of inbreeding. Saddened beyond belief, Dharma doesn't go for the chemotherapy route, which would certainly extend Charlie's life, but at the same time prolong her suffering. In the wake of Charlie's impending doom, Dharma reflects on how she is the source of happiness in his life, how she completely changed his life for the better and healed all his old wounds. Why is it that he has no idea of how to return just as much joy to her before she leaves him? For days, Dharma stays preoccupied with this dilemma. One evening, while he's watching TV, a skiing advertisement comes on, making feeble Charlie jump and bark at the TV screen in excitement. This makes him realize that snow made Charlie excited. Thus formed Dharma's plan to make the journey of a lifetime. He gathers his meager savings, his clothes and other supplies, and starts planning his trip. Using his welding skills, he builds a sidecar to attach to his bike so that Charlie's journey is safe and comfortable. Once this is done, they set off on their journey. They say goodbye to their sweet friend Edrica, who cries for Charlie. This sudden departure sets off alarms, as Davika has been closely monitoring them. She attached a tracking device on Charlie which alerts her when they leave town. This prompts her to follow them because in her mind she needs to save Charlie from Dharma. Dharma, however, has nothing but Charlie's well-being in his heart. While on their journey, the vet calls in with news of a video that he needs to see. It's a video of Charlie when she was just a small puppy and she was being tortured by her owner. Dharma asks the vet if he knows the location of the person who uploaded the video. The vet comes through and Dharma shifts his course towards the dog breeder's shack. He meets the man, beats him within an inch of his life, and leaves him there for the authorities to find. When the Animal Welfare Board gets there, Davika tells them to check the CCTV footage. She is sure that the culprit is Dharma because his tracker showed up on this spot. In hot pursuit, she forgets to fill up her scooter's tank, which leaves her stranded. Not having any other option, she imposes on Dharma and tells him she's going with him to collect evidence against him. Later, when she sees Dharma giving Charlie pills and injections, she gets enraged thinking he's abusing the dog. That's when Dharma tells her of Charlie's condition, and soon after she gets the call that he is not only innocent, rather he should be thanked as a hero. Davika sees him in a new light and arranges for his story to be heard in a travel magazine. She contacts her friend who is a famous reporter, and after hearing Dharma's and Charlie's story, he decides to put them both on the cover page of the magazine. This is where Davika leaves them and wishes them both luck on their journey. A few days later, Dharma's bike breaks down, and he hitches a ride with a good-natured man named Vabshi, who is also a dog lover and owns a beautiful black dog predictably named Blackie. Charlie and Blackie take to each other from the start, and these are some of the best days of both Dharma and Charlie's life. In Vabshi, he finds a true friend and the bond is cemented between them when Dharma finds out that his friend gets his bike fixed without letting him know. Vabshi gives Dharma participation tickets to an international dog show. Dharma, being a novice, doesn't understand it isn't a spectator pass. Initially, the crowd makes fun of Charlie and Dharma, but they win the crowd over with their heartful performance. Following this, Dharma and Charlie face many difficulties, like Charlie's declining health, their money running out and having to sell their bike. Somehow they reach Kashmir, but the road is blocked due to a landslide. Army personnel turn everyone back. Dharma gets off the bus they're traveling in and begs the soldiers that he's come a long way and that he can't go back or he will miss the chance to show Charlie snow. He is pleading to the soldier when the commanding officer hears them. He invites both Dharma and Charlie to his tent. He asks after Charlie's condition and how their journey has been. This confuses Dharma, and he asks how the man knows them. The officer shows him the magazine with them on the front page and tells them they're both famous. Thanks to this, both Charlie and Dharma get a tent in the army encampment. Dharma quietly sneaks away from the encampment, Charlie in tow. They both climb up the mountain and finally reach the place where it's snowing. Finally, she can see real-life snow. Dharma and Charlie spend the whole day playing in the snow. Despite being sick, she jumps and rolls around the snow. It is bittersweet how Dharma finally fulfilled Charlie's biggest wish, because soon after, Charlie goes missing from the camp. Dharma follows her footprints up the mountain with no fear of the raging storm. Finally, he comes upon an abandoned shrine where he finds Charlie collapsed. He holds his dear companion as she succumbs to death. Dharma sits there crying when all of a sudden he hears a whimper from inside. He goes inside to find that before dying, Charlie had left him a final gift, her and Blackie's puppy that she birthed just before her death. Dharma returns home, thankful of all the lessons he learnt and friends he made on this journey with Charlie. Upon returning home, he makes a dog rescue center in memory of his beloved Charlie. The story ends with the poignant words, "If you're lucky, a dog will come into your life, steal your heart, and change everything." And this concludes our journey. This was a glimpse into the 2021 Indian Kannada language drama film 777 Charlie, directed by Kiran Raj K. and produced by Rakshit Shetty and G.S. Gupta. Weren't we all taken aback by the profound bond between Dharma and his lovable dog Charlie? The trials, adventures, and heartwarming moments truly encapsulate the essence of companionship. If you've ever had a four-legged friend, Can you relate to Dharma's unwavering love for Charlie? Share your own memorable moments with your furry friend in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.